Okay. Will you make sure that in front of you, you have your steps? And will you read those steps with me? Ready? Does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? Good. We are going to use these steps to help us to divide. At the top of your page, will you put 3-1, divide, so that way we know what is it that we're working on today. And you can use this video and this page right here tonight to help you with your homework, okay? So let's go through a division problem today together. Let's do, and you're going to want to leave a little bit of room at the top because remember your quotient or your answer goes at the top. So scooch down just a smidgen and let's do 29 divided by 5. So I have a little bit of room at the top to write my answer, and I have lots of room at the bottom to do my work. Let's read this all together. Remember, you have to read it kind of backwards. Ready? 29 divided by 5. Okay, how many pieces of candy are in my bag?
29.
29 pieces of candy. How many friends do I have?
5.
Okay, so I want to see how many pieces of candy do each of my friends get, and they have to have an equal amount. Nobody can have more than the other, or they whine. It's not fair. We don't like the whining, okay? So I'm going to divide my 29 pieces of candy into my 5 friends' mouths, if you will. Okay, so the very first step, let's go to our cheat sheet. The very first step is does. Does starts with divide. So we have to divide 29 divided by 5. Really what we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out who is the missing factor. 5 times what will get us close to 29? Because remember, it's kind of like the opposite of multiplying. So off to the side here, let's start doing some multiplying to see how close can we get. I'm going to put a 29. Will you put a 29 so you know that's your total number of pieces of candy? And let's see how close we can get to 29 because we're just finding that missing factor when we divide. So do you think we should start with 1 or should we go up a little bit? What do you guys think? Okay, so let's do 5 times 3. Will you write 5 times 3 there? Where 3 would be our missing factor. 5 times 3 is 15. Do you think we'd still have enough candy to keep going?
Yeah.
So is that enough or do we need to give our friends more than 3 pieces? Okay, so let's try 5 times 4. Where each of our 5 friends would get 4 pieces of candy. How much candy would we use up then?
20.
Is that pretty close to 29 or do you think we can get closer?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try 5 times 5. Where each of our 5 friends would get 5 pieces of candy because that's the missing factor. 5 times 5 is...
25.
Oh, we're getting really close to that 29. Let's just make sure we can't give each of our friends 6 pieces. 5 times 6, where my missing factor would be 6. How many pieces of candy would that be?
30.
Do I have 30 pieces of candy or no? I only have 29, so I cannot do that. I'm going to cross that one off. That one's not going to work. The closest I can get is I can give each of my friends 5 pieces of candy. Am I going to give each of my friends 25 pieces of candy? Would it be 5 times 25? Or would the missing factor be 5?
5.
Good, so now let's go over here. And we know now that 29 divided by 5 is going to be 5. That's as close as we can get. Did we look at just the 2 or did we look at the 2 and the 9?
We looked at the 2 and
So you're going to put your 5 above that 9. It's so important that you start doing that because when they get harder, that's going to be a key that saves you. Okay, we did our dividing. And really when you're dividing, you're kind of doing some multiplying here. And that's going to help you to get that missing factor. So now let's go back to our does McDonald's. We already did our does. What's our next step? McDonald's. Multiply. Go ahead and put your multiplication symbol right there, just like when you do your arrays. And now I'm going to multiply 5 times 5. The best part is I don't even have to think because I already figured it out right over here. 5 times 5 was 25. Line up your place value as you put that 25 because your next step is going to be to subtract. And you can even put your columns in there. And I just told you your next step, but if we look, we did our divide, multiply. Does McDonald's serve is like subtract. So now we're going to subtract these two numbers because I had 29 pieces of candy in my bag and I gave out 25 pieces. I'm going to have some leftovers and I want to know how many leftovers am I going to have. So when I subtract 9 minus 5, I get 4. 2 minus 2 is 0, so I don't have to put anything there at all. Now I have, does McDonald's serve cheese means to check. Let's check this number right here. I have 4 pieces of candy left in my bag, and I have 5 friends. Do I have enough pieces of candy to give each of my friends more or no?
No.
If this number right here is smaller than your friends, then you're done. And so now, what am I going to do with those 4 pieces of candy left? I'm going to keep them in the bag. I don't want any whining friends, and that's what I call my remainder. So up here, I'm going to put an R for remainder, and next to the R, I'm going to put 4 because that's how many were left. And then finally, we have this burgers bring down. You are ignoring that step for now. It's going to come later. You just have to do these steps for now. Now I'm going to circle my answer. So that I gave each of my friends 5 pieces of candy, and I have 4 left in the bag. 29 divided by 5 is 5 with a remainder of 4.